Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
Well, folks, we have completed our run in The Mandalorian, Season 2, and we figured we would come right back here and do a retrospective of the entire season. So we're going to talk a little bit about, Season 2 as a whole, individual episodes maybe, directors, actors, who knows? A little bit of anything and everything, potentially.
Just something to fill the void until the next season.
Well, it's going to be a long void to fill, so we certainly have some other
There's a
ideas.
lot of rumors circulating that Book of Boba will actually replace Mando next year, and we won't even get it, so hopefully that's wrong.
Well, I'm pretty sure that is. That's why I don't really listen to rumors. I honestly, I don't really even listen to many other podcasts anymore. I don't really look at, Star Wars Twitter or, any of that stuff. Because honestly, we can all speculate to death, but I don't think, we've never attempted to be authority figures on breaking news or anything new. Because in all honesty, there's potential that it would be completely incorrect, So I think we've both sort of tried to steer away from that for the most part.
Yeah, I rarely look for new news or anything. I usually wait for it to start filtering into my feed. That's usually when, it's legitimate.
Yeah.
I feel like if you go searching, you'll find all the crap, essentially. So.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, we'll discuss it, if it seems credible. But yeah, we're definitely not gonna be the authorities on any of that sort of stuff. We enjoy the conversation. But I guess I'll ask at this time before we get started. So, how's your week been? New Year's and all that good stuff.
It's been good. Another nice long 4-day vacation. So, enjoying a little downtime. Actually getting to tinker around with all the stuff I got for Christmas and been rewatching Mando.
Yes, tinkering with Christmas presents.
Well, I finally got to mess around with the amp you got me. I had to restring my guitar. I went to tune it. And one of the strings broke instantly. So I was like, you know what? I really want to try, but I'm not stringing that today. Just not doing it.
Yeah, how do you like it?
Oh, it's great. I love that I have the option to use headphones so I don't bother everyone in the house.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that was one of my gifts to him was a little amp. We both kind of grew up playing guitar at one point or another. Obviously, being older, I picked it up beforehand, and then some of my equipment became his equipment, and it just it snowballed, and was it for your birthday? I built the guitar. It was a little later then, but it was basically your birthday present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I needed a new amp because the old amp just
it was limping.
It was probably isn't holding up too well for an almost 20-year-old amp at this point. So.
It's really not that far off from being that old, probably about 15.
Yeah,
I would feel bad selling it to someone, honestly.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I played on it a lot. You've played on it a lot too, so.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, well used.
No doubt. So, but yeah, it, I don't know, this week's been pretty much, whatever. There weren't a lot of people at work, so work went by pretty quickly, and, New Year's was... I joined a Zoom call with some friends, and that was fun, I guess. I will say the TV ball dropping things are really, really dumb. It was dumb to do this year.
I watched 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't really have much interest.
I didn't really ever watch it, to be honest with you. It was more like the very end. You want to see the ball drop. But the whole thing is most of those are shot in New York or something, like a big city. So you had all these people and the confetti's going, and it's it feels like a really big event. But this year with COVID and everything, that wasn't really the case, and it just sort of seemed kind of it's wow, did you really even need to put these on It just seems like really
Right.
stupid. And honestly, is especially with New York, with how shut down they are still, kind of almost seems like a slap in the face because that time of year would have been like a huge business day, right? For most of the
Oh yeah,
businesses, you know,
sure.
hotels,
All the restaurants,
restaurants.
bars, hotels. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of, I don't know, man. That whole thing, I think if it were me, I would have just been like, well, let's just take this to a studio. Let's do a studio show and not like
Yeah.
act like we're going to, you know, disrupt New York at this point. At least that, I don't know. That would have been me. Whatever.
Yeah. I've never really liked the idea of sitting outside for about 14 hours waiting for that in New York in one of the coldest days of the year anyway.
Yeah.
So I would never personally do it.
Well, I'm with you. I wouldn't personally want to be out there either, but you know, I mean, it's an experience, and there's some people that really view that as a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in Columbus, Red, White, and Boom, you know, the whole
Yeah.
big firework. It's like I've never personally been downtown to see it because why? You know, why would I want to do that?
See it on TV. So
Yeah, or I'm just gonna go see, you know, whatever town's fireworks show, and that's cool. You know, that's fine for me. But
just hang out in the McDonald's parking lot and get yourself a Big Mac.
yeah,
Sit out on the lawn chairs.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, you know, there are some people that really enjoy that and think it's a, you know, it's a cool experience for them. So I'm not gonna knock it. I mean, if you want to go do that, you know, go for it. But obviously, this year very different. But hey, I mean, we've turned into 2021 and everything's fixed. You know, there's no war,
Yeah.
poverty, there's no more politicians, there's no more hunger, peace is everywhere. We've all turned a new leaf. We're all very, very happy. It's great,
Yes,
right?
and we all have Twisted Tea to thank for it.
Listen, that is the stupidest thing. I had no idea what it was. And I just saw everybody with like a Twisted Tea can. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I finally saw the video and I was like, somebody at Twisted Tea did this. Somebody at that company did that because there's no way that happened organically. Like everything is now Twisted Tea. No. Someone is behind that. You are all getting played. Because that is like every World Star video, period. It wouldn't have... Listen, if that would have been a can of Coke or like a Monster energy drink, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, it seems suspicious to me.
Right. I don't know. To me, it was... I mean, don't get me wrong, it was pretty funny, but...
I don't even know if it was all that
just
funny.
a little fake.
For me, I don't know why. I didn't find it... I didn't really get it. I mean, I get it. Like, I get I get why people think it's funny, but it's like... But I've seen this 100 times on World Star, man. Like, fights happen all the time. It's like for this one to become the face of memedom right now, I don't understand it. It's like we are all apparently very uncreative at this point because this is what we're doing. We are we are going to hype Twisted Tea. Screw that, buddy.
What we are a bandwagon nation. It's very easy to jump onto a simple joke and try and make your own version of it and try and get... I mean, it's really just people trying to get famous off of the hype of Twisted Tea.
I mean, what if he would have slapped him with a hot dog? Would everybody be like, oh, hot dogs? You know what I mean? Somebody in that marketing department got paid a ton for that, man. Somebody had an idea.
Although I will say I did see a Twisted Tea Star Wars meme that was pretty decent. It's the Obi-Wan Grievous fight, and he pulls out 4 Twisted Teas instead of lightsabers. That's a little entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely crossed into a lot of different fandoms. So,
but I will say one thing: not that I found a good news, but I did see, if any of you are looking to spend your stimulus checks on toys, the Force FX series just came out with the Darksaber.
It's gone
recently around Christmas.
It's gone
Completely out of stock.
Yeah, I looked at it. Basically, they had it available at like, it was some stupid time, like 4 p.m. Eastern. And I went and looked. I forgot what time it was. And I went and looked maybe, 5, 6 o'clock. Gone. $250.
Wow.
For that saber.
Ooh.
And I mean, there are other companies that make a dark saber, so it's not like it's unimaginable. But it's Black Series Hasbro. I gotta have it. But yeah, I did look at that. It looked cool, you know.
I guess what I read from it, I didn't realize this wasn't a common feature, but apparently most of the sabers don't have rechargeable batteries for the light. It was saying that this one does. It's a new thing.
There are companies that do it, but like,
odd.
but Black Series, I think are just, you know, you put in whatever AA, AAA. But there are saber companies that do make rechargeable.
Yeah.
Which is
I just found that odd.
Smart.
You're spending $200 and it's not rechargeable for the most part on there.
Yeah, the Black Series
but
sabers have always been expensive, though. They're so expensive.
It is nice. I mean, don't get me wrong; it is a well-made saber, but $250 is a little steep for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I like I said, I looked at it, but I didn't really have any real inclination to buy it. But I looked at it a little bit because I think it would have been,
Right.
Neat. But yeah, $250, meh. Yeah, I'm not really in it for that personally. So, I guess now that the memes have dried up for us there, we can go ahead and work into the main crux of the matter here. Mandalorian season 2. We had 8 episodes. And I don't know. Do you want to start by like going down the list and talking about episodes individually, or do we want to do like an overarching statement first? What do you think?
Let's just do a quick synopsis of each episode.
Okay.
Just kind of a little recap for those of you who haven't seen the other reviews we've done of each episode individually.
Yep.
Which, if you haven't, I mean, what are you doing with your life? You should go back and do that first.
True that, and obviously, spoiler country for all of that if you couldn't have guessed. So yeah.
Are you gonna put a picture of Luke?
A
nice picture of Luke on the tagline for this for people who download it.
No, you know me. I don't do any of that sort of stuff, so it's just gonna be what it is.
All
right. So, first episode, Chapter 9, The Marshal, written and directed by Jon Favreau. And this is where we get Cobb Vanth, and we see Boba's armor. We have our little town on Tatooine, Mos Pelgo, and we learn that there is a crate dragon out there just wreaking havoc. We have an alliance between the...
Yes,
Sorry, you're going to say something there?
I was just going to say, yes, the crate dragon of mystery and lore that we always wondered about from episode 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think any of us really thought much about the crate dragon, but they did flesh it out very well. It is a cool little nod to some old Star Wars lore.
Yep. So yeah, the villagers of Mos Pelgo and then some of the Tusken Raiders band together in order to kill the crate dragon. And it was a pretty sweet episode that culminated in the Mandalorian, old Din Djarin here, actually delivering the final blow. And he takes Boba Fett's armor with him. And special end of it, we actually see Boba Fett for the first time since the Sarlacc
Yes.
pit.
And I think our opinion of that first time watching it compared to our opinion of him now is a little different.
Yeah, a little meh. But overall, I think that the episode, it was a good solid episode, good rewatchable episode. Also, I believe one of our longest too. I probably should have popped that up as well. Episode lengths. I'm not on that.
54 minutes.
Yeah, so
we're at 54 minutes on that one, the longest of the season.
Yeah. So reasonably long episode, which I like longer episodes myself anyway, but that's me.
Probably the second best opening of the season, I would say, right behind the Jedi, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Great
with a
little,
little gangster in the boxing arena or fighting pit arena.
Yeah.
Yes, I would happen to agree with you there as well. So moving on to episode 2, chapter 10, The Passenger. Again, I am super uninterested in these stupid chapters and episodes. I really, we're
That's
not going
gonna
to
get
stop
so
it.
messy a few more seasons in.
Yeah. So this one had a runtime of 41 minutes, and we meet a new character who still doesn't have a name, but we're just calling her Frog Lady. Trying to get
Yes,
her
Frog
eggs.
Lady, played by Misty Rosas.
Yeah. So trying to get her eggs from Tatooine to the moon Trask to meet her husband. And this was all set up by our mechanic. You know that lady. Dang. I don't have that name up.
I have a list of about 140 actors and actresses. It takes a second to find somebody.
Jeez.
Who do we have?
Jeez.
Oh my. She's gonna be at the right at the bottom of the list. I know it.
Wasn't it? Let's see here. Yeah, Peli Motto, who is played by Amy Sedaris.
There you go.
So there we go. But that, obviously she was in episode 1 as well, but plays the part in sort of making this deal to effectively have Mando transport Frog Lady to somewhere else. So there you go. We have a bit of a bump in the road, however, as he is confronted by some X-Wings and crash onto an icy planet that is definitely not Hoth.
Yes, that is the name of the planet, not Hoth.
Not Hoth, yes. But the New Republic does recognize him for his role in the whole prison break episode from season 1. And basically, Razor Crest goes down into a cave. We have this swarm of spiders, which were kind of a callback to, essentially Endor, or not Endor, excuse me. Wow. Yoda's Dagobah, thank you. So a callback to Dagobah, some lore from Dagobah, but also from Rebels, because we did see them on Rebels on that show as well. So, pretty action-packed episode, I would have to say. Razor Crest is severely beaten up. But as the climax of the episode comes down and, spiders everywhere, our X-Wing pilots do return and help to destroy and drive back the rest of the creatures. And, they kind of like, hey, we realize you weren't all that bad, so be good and put on your antenna, okay?
We're not helping you. We're not going to fix your shit, but we are going to save you.
Yeah, we saved you, but you have to do the rest. So that is what it is. And then effectively...
Have fun freezing.
Yeah. Effectively, the end here is the Razor Crest sort of limping off towards Trask. So that was episode 2. Episode 3, chapter 11, The Heiress. And this is where we start getting interesting, in my opinion. We finally get to Trask. Frog Lady's all, doing Frog Lady things. Meets her husband, so that's cool. We get a really crappy Mon Cal repair of the ship with nets and rope, which is fun. We also...
creepy little creature that almost eats Grogu.
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah, exactly. We do, again, we're getting Mon Cal and Quarrens again, which is kind of a neat throwback. And as Mando is effectively ambushed on a fishing ship for whatever reason he's out on the ocean, we do get Mandalorians, actual Mandalorians from Mandalore, led by Bo-Katan. And we also bring up a couple of other characters here.
Reeves.
Yep, Cosca Reeves. And
he who shall not be remembered.
Yeah, really, really kind of axe woves,
Mhm.
who was in for one episode and then we don't see him again, which was a little disappointing. But I gotta say, his name was super stupid. Sorry, it's a
Yeah.
stupid name.
Yeah.
I guess I sort of I should back up here a little bit. Chapter 10, directed by Peyton Reed, written by Jon Favreau. The Heiress,
Mhm.
directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, written by Jon Favreau. So, okay, let's continue. So we see our Mandalorians. We learn that Din Djarin's sect of Mandalorians is a cult, at least by
Which we
Mandalore
kind of already
standard.
guessed.
Yeah. And then we get a ship hijack as Bo is, essentially looking for dun, 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 the Darksaber. So this, I don't know. I think that the scene in the ship was pretty epic. We have kind of an unsure Mando at this point, but they are able to come together and each do their part. Really epic stuff. Good action there. And they are able to capture the ship at the last moment, where Bo effectively tells Mando that he needs to look for Ahsoka Tano on the forest
And we
planet
just
of
keep on a
Corvus.
rolling.
More fetch quests, but here we go. So then, instead of jumping directly to Ahsoka, we have to make another pit stop. Episode 4.
Actually fix the ship this time.
Yeah. Episode 4, Chapter 12, The Siege, directed by Carl Weathers and written by Jon Favreau. So we get back to Navarro, which is where we were originally, where we met Cara Dune and Greef Karga. And they have a reunition. They reunited. That's what I meant to say. We do get a really cool beginning scene with Cara, who has now become like kind of a marshal, kicking butt and taking names. And yeah, we get to, some
Making
repair
ferret
work.
friends.
What's that?
Making ferret friends.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I forgot about that stupid ferret. That's right. But yeah, repairing the Razor Crest. And we get another sort of side mission to an Imperial base on Navarro, which we discover was a lab being used by Dr. Pershing to conduct experiments with Grogu's blood. They destroy the base. There are some troopers there, speeder bikes, TIEs, tanks. It's
Blue guy.
Yeah, blue guys there again. It's a lot of fun. And basically the ending here is that we discover that a tracker was put onto the Razor Crest by one of the sort of operatives of Moff Gideon. Let's see. I'm forgetting all the things that I've been trying to do on these. So going back, the Heiress was 35 minutes. The Siege was 39 minutes. So we'll get there, man. We'll be professional one day. Next up, Episode 5, Chapter 13, The Jedi, written and directed by Dave Filoni with a runtime of 47 minutes.
47 glorious minutes.
Yeah, what a beautiful episode this was. But they arrive on Corvus. The planet is pretty desolate. We have this fort, which is very interesting, that is ran by our magistrate. Perhaps we could actually have her name this time. Maybe.
Trying. We are certainly trying.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be nice if they organized this list by appearance, but that just doesn't happen.
Let's see here.
Do we remember the magistrate's name? Trying to find the actress.
Well, I'll get there. So I believe we had Morgan Elsbeth, played by Diana Lee Santo. So
yes.
Very, very cool character there. There's some lore if you really want to get into it, but I think we talked about that a little bit during the episode, so I don't want to rehash too much. But we have the insanely epic return of Ahsoka Tano as she is effectively assaulting the fort. Some of the best, cinematography I think that I've seen so far in Mando. And even the meeting between the Mandalorian and Ahsoka was great, but after Ahsoka's sort of siege, we have Mando showing up, going into the village, and it's bad. I mean, it's a bad place, man. It's a bad place, and
people being tortured out in the streets.
Yeah,
weird little cages.
Yep. And we have our magistrate effectively offering Mando the spear, a Beskar spear, for the taking or killing of Ahsoka Tano. So he goes out to find her. They have their confrontation, and we also have a great little thing here with Grogu and Ahsoka, and we learn Grogu's name is Grogu. It's not just the child or baby Yoda. It is
yes,
indeed.
And then we start using it just to get him to react, and it's great.
Yeah, exactly. So that was great. Their communion in the Force. Obviously, Rosario Dawson coming through here, playing Ahsoka, and I
wonderfully, by the way.
Yeah. It really was, and whether you want to get down on the headpiece or not, it's just such a minor thing for me. She played that part to perfection, and they really did an awesome job of portrayal of a character that we've all come to love.
Yes, definitely. One little side note on this episode, we totally missed it when it came out. I don't want to focus on it too long, but we've seen this spear before. Do you remember where we've seen this spear? Captain Phasma. Just something to think about.
Well, I mean, okay, let's hold off a little bit and say maybe. Because do you have an actual confirmation of that?
Yes. Well, no, there's no confirmation. It's just after rewatching the movie, I noticed that, and it's just something they could tie in potentially. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't think it would be cool at all.
Be kind of nice to flesh out that character. She was potentially a really great character.
She had a book.
Movie.
Read the book. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I don't necessarily know if I would particularly care if that were the thing, but yeah, I mean that could be an interesting connection for sure.
Might see her in a season at some point. If they do a time jump, you never know. But
I highly doubt it. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I don't want to be down on it, but I wouldn't want to see that personally. They squandered Phasma in the movies.
They did.
It is what it is. I don't think I need to rehash that to make it right. But again, continuing with the episode here, we also have our sort of gunfighter Lang. And let me grab his name. Michael Biehn, who was in Tombstone, which I recently watched. He was Johnny Ringo in Tombstone, which was awesome. Which coincidentally was also why the code name for season 2 was Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Which we discussed in our last episode with our gallery recap.
Still waiting for another episode.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
Kind of weird that they didn't drop another one for New Year's.
Yeah,
that was odd.
I thought that was strange. I haven't looked at the release schedule or if there's anything with that. I haven't really looked into it. I figure it'll come out when it comes out. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do have another assault on the city as Ahsoka and Mando work together, which is a great tribute to like Kurosawa and a lot of the spaghetti Western films, which is so much of what the season has been emulating, which has been great for me because I love it. We have a great confrontation between Ahsoka and Elsbeth, the magistrate, which, I mean, that was a great choreographed event. And again, like I keep having to say this, these fights are not sped up, which I love because they look far more real. And people need to get over that crap because the choreography in this whole show in general has been great to my my liking. And then we get another name drop as Ahsoka is
Yeah,
looking
and the fight,
for.
it's not overly stylized.
Right. Right. But we get this name drop as Ahsoka does best the magistrate as she is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that gave us all a huge Twitter.
Yes.
Which we didn't see Thrawn in here, which I don't expect to, because I think with Filoni's comments we have all confirmed that this is basically before the very end scene of Rebels, which is
Correct.
Okay by me. Then Ahsoka, who will not train Grogu, directs them to a temple on the planet Tython, where Grogu can maybe communicate with somebody else out there. Who knows? And we speculated a ton on that too. Great episode, though. So now we run into episode 6, chapter 14, The Tragedy, written by Jon Favreau, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and let me pull up another screen here.
34-minute runtime.
Yeah, so I think this was the shortest episode, wasn't it? Yep.
If not the shortest, second shortest, yes.
No, it's the shortest episode. What's shorter?
Yes. I just didn't have them all pulled up.
Okay.
I knew there was a couple that were low 30s. So
now the Heiress was 35,
right.
The Siege was 39, this was 33. So this was the shortest of the season, which you know me, I always want more.
but every second of this was perfect, just like Jedi, in my opinion. I mean,
it was sick.
They didn't waste a single second on it. I mean, it was half a fight scene.
Yeah, exactly. So we do join the Mandalorian and Grogu on Tython. We have this rock that Grogu sits on.
Jedi rock.
Yeah, Jedi rock. And he does this little meditation thing with his little hands, which is super cool. And we see him communing in the Force, which is great. But he is in a protective energy shield, which Mando can't penetrate.
We confirmed twice that he cannot penetrate.
Yes. We also have the arrival of a ship that we haven't officially named because it's probably very insensitive and we shouldn't really name it. Slave One. So Boba's
or
ship.
2 or 3 at this point.
It's hilarious. They never said the name of the ship. And it's like, why, but they didn't want to rename it. So we have the arrival of Boba Fett and Fennec Shan. We realize that she did not die, but she has become part robot. And her and Boba are working together, and Boba wants his armor. All right, he wants his dang armor back. So he doesn't want to fight Mando, really, but he wants his armor. It's his armor. And I don't know. It was kind of crazy to think that he never tried to get it from Vanth, but we also speculated maybe it was because he had some respect for Vanth and he was trying to clean it up and is I'm okay with this for now. Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, we run into the Imperial remnant here under Gideon as they are attempting to capture the child. And we have the biggest tragedy of all. The tragedy, the Razor Crest is destroyed.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Although, let's be honest, it was on its way out at this point anyway.
It
Poor thing could only take so many more repairs.
It had just gotten some repairs, man. It was fine. Yeah, that was terrible.
It would have been funny if they added him just yelling, "I just spent all that money fixing my shit."
Yeah. Well, we have an assault by ground troopers as well. Boba does get his armor back. Fennec is sniping people, throwing giant boulders at him, Looney Tunes style. Mando's fighting back to back with Fennec, which was sweet. We had Boba's, really defining moment here in his fighting style and using all the weapons at his disposal, even taking down a ship, a little cruiser as well with his rocket.
Yeah, I will say Boba is the most berserk of all the Mandos.
Well, he's got knee guns.
Style.
Okay, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So once we kind of beat off the attack here, Moff Gideon deploys what we saw very briefly in the last episode and are confirmed to be Dark Troopers, which are just droids, no humans, unfortunately. And they capture Grogu. And Fett and Fennec promise to help the Mandalorian get Grogu back because that's
They're
what
nice people.
that's what we're gonna do for now. We're gonna help. And then we get a little cameo from Dune again, Cara Dune's character, as they say, we got to go get old Mayfeld out of prison for something. So good episode. Then we move into episode 7, chapter 15, The Believer, which is written and directed by Rick. Oh my gosh, I don't want to. Famu Iowa. I don't know. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to mispronounce names, but it's terrible for me, and I don't look them up. 38 minutes on this episode. And listen, what an episode. We dogged this guy a little bit for the previous gallery and him appearing to be boring, but he's done some fantastic work in here. He just needs to work on his storytelling in person a little bit.
Hey, as long as he can project all of his nerdy energy into the episode, he can be a stick in the mud. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, this episode turned out to be pretty epic as well. We get Mayfeld, played by Bill Burr, back, who is cutting up TIE fighters on a random prison planet.
Yes, a la Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. So, again, we have Boba, we've got Fennec, we've got Cara, we've got Mando, we've got now Mayfeld in the fold as they are going to Morak, planet Morak, to access a hub, a secret Imperial hub that will allow them to help find Gideon easier, I guess. And very interesting episode, hijacking a crawler with, sorry, I got a cough. With
everyone's deaf now.
Yeah. Rhydonium, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So Rhydonium, which apparently is explosive or something. They're attacked by pirates. We get to see more combat, more realistic combat, which I thought was cool. And probably the most cheesy thing in the entire world is everyone and their brother snaps open a detonator. Oh my God. That was so, it was like, I think I made the analogy in the episode. It was like the snaps in like West Side Story. That was.
Oh no, you could just get some Grease Lightning playing in the background too, for that matter.
It was so cheesy, dude. It was so cheesy, but it was fun. They do make it to the mining facility as they're hailed as heroes for bringing this Rhydonium in, and then we just get a face off. We get a face off and a half, and man, a bit of a hint back to Operation Cinder, which was insane. Let me see here. What was this actor's name? I don't suppose you have him pulled up, do you?
I'm looking for it right now. Let's see here. Sorry, Wi-Fi's.
No, you're good. I was. Now the weird thing is the page I have up apparently doesn't have him in it for whatever reason. That's weird.
It's odd. So let's see here. Yeah, unfortunately, again, nothing's really organized properly. So
yeah, that's okay. I'm sure. Let me just open another page. I do want to get his name. We'll edit all this out, and by edit all this out, I mean I won't do anything of the sort.
There we go. Imperial Captain Titus Welliver.
No.
Titus?
I don't think.
Welliver.
No, that's not it. No, that was from the.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's from. Yeah.
Yeah, that was from the other episode. I'll
kind of looks similar, but
we'll get it. I'll get
I've
it
got
eventually.
super small pictures here to go by.
We'll get it. This is real. God, this is really stupid. Okay, here we go. So the character's name is Valen Hess, and the actor Richard Brake, who did the.
Of course, just found out.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
So he did the. He's done it. He's done quite a bit, but also pretty famous for Game of Thrones. So anyway, we get this face off between Mayfeld and Hess, and it's kind of like it's a really cool sort of psychological thing where Mayfeld is kind of in a way looking for revenge without really thinking he's looking for revenge, and getting out some of his grievances that he had with being, because he was ex-Imperial, and the atrocities that happened, and he just, guns him down, which was crazy. Oh yeah. And also Mando takes off his helmet in front of everybody.
Yes, but everyone dies, so it doesn't matter.
Except
for Boba.
So they do escape.
But he didn't see him, so it's okay.
Yeah, he saw him. He totally saw him. So they are able to escape, and we get a transmission to Gideon. Pretty, kind of cool. It's like, listen, man, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
So finally, we end on episode 8, chapter 16, The Rescue, directed by Peyton Reed. Two episodes he's directed this season, and written by Jon Favreau. So they are
46 minutes.
Yep, there you go. I was about to forget that too, so thank you. Mando and Cara board an Imperial shuttle. They capture Dr. Pershing. We have the whole Avengers Unite. We get Bo-Katan and Koska Reeves. Her and Boba have a little bit of a match there in a bar, so that's fun.
Flamethrower duel.
Yeah. So they use this shuttle to effectively get close to Gideon's cruiser and enter it. We have a lot of girl power in this episode as Bo-Katan, Koska Reeves, Fennec Shan, and Cara Dune fight their way through the ship, battling all the troopers as Mando is tasked with trying to take down the Dark Troopers, which he does blow out of the ship, only for them to come back a little later. Mando also confronts Gideon, who is holding Grogu. They have a little bit of a fight there, at which Mando does get the upper hand using the spear. Everyone arrives back on the bridge, where, of course, Gideon kind of goads Bo-Katan, saying, "Oh, well, look, he's got the saber. He won it. You didn't. Ha, 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 ha." And then we have the sort of the main, bad thing.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah, where the Dark Troopers come back to the ship, and they're trying to bust through the door, rock'em sock'em robot style. And then we have probably the biggest reveal in the entire show, period, where Luke Skywalker shows up, destroys the Dark Troopers, and then takes Grogu to presumably train him. We also get a very touching moment where Grogu is able to see Mando's face for the first time, which I made a joke about. Well, Mayfeld's seen his face before Grogu's even seen his face, so that's great. And then finally, we culminate Marvel style, which I'm sorry I still don't like, with Fett and Fennec traveling to Jabba's palace on Tatooine and killing Bib Fortuna, poor Bib, and taking over the throne so that he can, rule Tatooine or something. And also get, kind of the allusion to the Book of Boba Fett, which is a new series which should exist alongside with the new Ahsoka series and season 3 of The Mandalorian, all living in sort of the same time frame. So it's a possibility for some more crossover there, which I don't know, maybe not.
Sure, why not?
So that's a lot of yakking. That's a lot of yakking for a recap. But I want to ask you, we'll go back and forth here. Let's just start with our favorite episode of the season. What's your favorite episode of the season and why?
I'm going to have to say it would be the Jedi. And the reason being, I thought that was probably some of the best choreographed lightsaber combat we've seen live action. Although I won't say that Luke wasn't amazing too, obviously. CGI Luke. We get a lot of backstory on Grogu. We find out where he's from, or at least that he's been trained in the Jedi Temple. We just get a lot of great spaghetti Western moments. We get some great characters introduced in this. The spear. Yeah, so that by far, it's probably the best episode of the season, I would say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you want your pumpkin spice latte with your basic B word take there?
Basic B word. Come on now.
I'm kidding. No, I agree with you. It was my favorite episode. Yeah, all the allusion to the sort of, Kurosawa and then the, old Western films and the standoffs with, gunfighters and, the combat. The first scene with Ahsoka just slicing through a bunch of folks and, giving her warnings and so forth. The tone of the episode, which was, very dark, but then, when you were in the garden in the center of the town, it was a little brighter, a little greener and so forth.
Low life.
Yeah. So the constant changing of those sort of things, the attention to detail, I think was extremely, extremely good. So yeah, I really enjoyed it a ton. I had a great time watching that episode. It's definitely one that, God, that could just be its own little movie.
It could.
You know what I mean?
And it really just goes back to how amazing Dave Filoni is.
Yeah.
And how much he cares about this universe and
right.
cares about fleshing it out properly.
Well, that's the other thing too. Yeah, Dave wrote and directed it. I mean, this was his baby. And I told you that when we were looking at these, I was like, that's going to be the Ahsoka episode. There's no way it will be written or directed by anyone else but Dave Filoni.
I'm sure he gave them no choice whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, listen, I will fight all of you for this. I have every Force FX license.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, I agree with you that is as perfect an episode as you can do. So,
but the tragedy and the believer were very, very close seconds. I will say that. I know I said that it's by far the best, but that's not necessarily true.
No, yeah, talk about them. So I mean, like, let's kind of go down the ladder here. I don't want to do like a full ranking because like I didn't think about it that much.
I'd say top 3 then.
But yeah. Talk about tragedy. Talk about believer. Why are they up there for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, the tragedy has some of the best blaster-based combat in the entire series, not even just this season. It made me actually care about Boba Fett in a way I didn't think I would, because neither of us were really excited about the introduction of Boba Fett at the beginning of this season. We really weren't. But he's different. He seems to have changed his lifestyle quite a bit throughout the years. Makes you interested in what all has happened to him after escaping the pit. We get some great acting from Finnick. She's amazing. Her choreography is great too. And we get the setup for Grogu finding a Jedi. So there was so much suspense waiting to see who would show up. That alone kept us on the edge of our seats, I think. I don't know. Why did you like the tragedy?
I didn't.
You didn't like the tragedy.
Don't put words in my mouth. I'll tell you what else I liked after you're done. No,
well,
you said. Well, okay. So yeah, we can bat back and forth. Yeah, I mean the tragedy was good, but I think if we're gonna give a number 2 for me, it's gonna be the Heiress, and this was kind of maybe not as like full hog of an episode for some people as others, but like the one thing is that it was just done so darn well. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little confusing on why Mando was on a ship, but hey, he had to get to an island to find the Mandalorians, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Sure.
But it was cool to see the Corrin. It was cool to see the Mon Cal again on a water planet. I think Bryce Dallas Howard did a really great job as a director here, and I think I mean, well, she already is doing pretty brilliant stuff, but a very bright future if she
Yes,
sticks
she
with
also
it.
did one of our favorite episodes from season 1 as well, The Village. She has
Yeah.
some great talent.
Yes, she absolutely does. Um, but again, it really all comes down to bringing in some of the Mandalorians and bringing in Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, which was awesome to bring the actual voice in here. Seasoned actress who knows what she's doing. And honestly, like Twitter, I'm not big on, but like, although thank you to everyone who's been following us lately on Twitter because that actually has been raising lately. So, hopefully you guys are enjoying the podcast and so forth. But I followed her on Twitter like before the episode dropped, I think. Or no, it was after. It doesn't matter. But anyway, she was so excited when that episode dropped. Like
Yeah.
her tweets were, I mean, she was just over the moon, so happy about not only the love the character was getting, but just being able to do it. And like, she's not new, she's been in big roles. She's done, done TV, done movies, done all this stuff. But she still has that excitement about like, I mean, effectively a 2-off at this point, it could have been a
Yeah.
1-off, you know what I mean? But yeah, her enthusiasm for the role made me very happy. And just to see the Mandalorians of Mandalore with their combat and their different way of fighting was really fun to see. And the taking of the ship, was something, and we mentioned this in the gallery where Favreau came in and he was like, "Well, we can't have Mando front and center with him, shooting along. He's got to be a little bit in the background until he gets his moment." Seeing them clear a ship, clearing a hallway was excellent. And then seeing Mando's contribution as they're kind of pinned down a little bit and he runs through, he's taking all these shots of the armor and is finally able to deal with the remnants of it so they can get to the bridge. That whole thing was really amazingly done. Again, you had feeling, you had action. It was really just a pretty complete episode for me. So that's sort of why it's like number 2. What's your number
Gotcha.
3?
Number 3 for me.
Generally when people do this, they go in reverse order.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing this completely wrong. All the suspense is just, it's gone. It's hard to choose number 3 because The Rescue and The Believer were both amazing episodes.
Mm-hmm.
They really were. And I would say that The Rescue is the better episode by far, but I do want to give a big nod to The Believer because that is probably the most tense scene in the entire season by far. Having that face off with Bill Burr it just shows how great of an actor he is. You think, oh, he's a comedian, it's not going to be that great. And he's very goofy during that episode for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets so intense, so serious in this role, and I really appreciated it. It definitely harkened back to a lot of old westerns to me, Inglourious Bastards as well, which is one of my favorite movies from. Anyway, drawing a blank on the director's name, but I would have to say The Rescue is definitely going to be number 3 for me. It can't not be with Luke. It just can't.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of intense and dramatic moments throughout this entire episode. We have some great combat, a lot of girl power. We have super emotional moments with Grogu saying goodbye to Mando. And we all got to feel like a child again watching Luke slice and dice some droids. It was just a great experience. And I don't think either of us really thought we'd see Luke again. So it was great.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I'm with you there. Great episode, but I'm actually going to give number 3 to The Believer.
Okay.
Because again, you're kind of in this vacuum situation where you're dealing with the creed of Mando and sort of digging a little bit into, but are the things that you're believing really necessary? It was kind of like one of those episodes where he has to say, what am I willing to do? And in the end, he is basically willing to sacrifice everything, because taking off a helmet is effectively akin to like a
Deserting
suicide,
the
or
Mandalorian.
like going AWOL or something. In that respect, there's the potential that his creed would say you're now not worthy of that armor, which could come up in season 3, because we have to assume that we're going to see at least the armorer again, right? So it could be, a situation where they say, well, has anybody seen your face? He's like, yeah. And at that point, it's like, well, then you don't deserve that armor. So I think he could come up big, but the thing is like you saw what he was willing to do, and to kind of throw away things that don't necessarily make sense for, doing the right thing. And then, yeah, obviously the Mayfeld scene was insane. Just going through his mind. And like the thing is like that sort of seems to be Bill Burr. Like if you watch his interviews or you watch some of his routines and stuff, like it kind of almost seems like he put a lot of himself in that character. The ethical dilemma that he had to go through in order to get to this point. So that was insane. Obviously, the character of Hess was, just crazy good. And then the allusion to Operation Cinder was nice to see in mainstream. Hopefully, some of that stuff gets you into books, gets you into literature. It's like, oh, what's Operation Cinder? Well, you got to read this book. You know what I mean? Yeah, give me a little bit more on Ahsoka. Well, she has a book, so there's a lot of reading. But yeah, I got to give number 3 to The Believer.
All right. So what do we want to talk about next?
Well, I guess here let's kind of think about where we can go from here. What do you think comes next for the Mandalorian?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to address in season 3 is the Darksaber and Bo. There's just no way that we can skip over that and ignore it. It has to be done. We need to have some kind of interaction with the armorer again. Now that he's had this crisis of faith and he's questioning everything he's been taught growing up, we have to finally have that confrontation, and we need to see if he decides to stick with that, his family and all that he's known, or if he goes with Bo and eventually becomes part of her group, or if there's a confrontation between them and, they're at odds with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to focus more on Mandalore in general and not all these fetch quests.
So I want to address this whole fetch quest thing, because like I think people are really zeroing in on that too much, and they're missing the point of this show, and that it is episodic and not serialized. You know what I mean? It's not one giant arc. It's a collection of things. I mean, this is the same formula that TV went in the direction of forever and ever. And I think that the only, in quotations, sin that this particular season has done is that it spent a lot of time introducing characters as opposed to continuing Din Djarin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it did a good job of like putting more on him, but okay, oh, here's Bo-Katan. Oh, here's Ahsoka Tano. Oh, here's this,
Here's
you know,
Boba. Here's
it's like,
Luke.
yeah, it's like, who else can we introduce, to get a spinoff series? So I think that might have been the biggest kind of sin for me, but that doesn't necessarily ruin anything in my eye. And I think that the fetch questing thing, it has a place. Like, I don't think that for me, there's no issue with that with me. I just think it's a different TV. I don't want The Mandalorian to be like every other show out there. I want it to, be unique in its own way. And, the way it's been pulled off has been completely fine. And the threads have been reasonably even despite you having, different visions for each of them, but you have the consistent writing. You know what I mean? So I think that's important. But as far as what we're going to see, or what I think we'll see in season 3, Mandalorian Civil War. I mean, that's kind of what I've been thinking about, because you have factions. You have factions at this point. You have this cultist faction who believes in the old way. You have Bo-Katan's, sort of faction, which, I mean, she lost the Darksaber, so what is her right to rule at this point in their eyes? And, just an aside, all of you people out there who continue to talk about, well, but she was given it the first time. It's like, but she didn't have to win it because the person giving it to her didn't win it either. There's a difference. Yeah. There's a difference. In this case, in my opinion, I think, and we didn't get this explained, which I kind of wish they would have, I think Gideon won it from her. I think he actually was able to take it from her, which in that respect means that she has lost leadership. So she has to prove that she can gain that leadership back again through effectively force, because that's kind of the code. So it's different. It's a way different thing. And I think I've seen some theories talking about maybe Bo would become like the bad guy of season 3, which I don't particularly want to see. And then there's a meme going around. It's like, I don't remember the first panel, but like the second panel is marrying Din Djarin, and she kind of has a look on her face. So I don't know. There's going to be something will come to a head there. I also think we'll see Sabine at some point. I think we'll see some of Clan Ren. I think we're going to see more Mandalorians, but eventually there will have to be something that comes to pass. Something will have to come to pass in order to button this Darksaber arc up. And I think that we'll see Mandalore. I think that we'll see some fighting amongst the Mandalorians. And I think at the end of the season, we will see Grogu.
Yes.
I think we'll see.
Do you think we'll see any tiny clips of Grogu throughout, or do you think it will be just at the end?
Just at the end. Just at the end.
I think that's how it needs to be. I think this needs to be the season we completely focus on Djarin.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, we've had a lot set up in season 2, which I don't see a reason for any more setup for season 3. We can finally focus on the Mandalorian again.
Yep.
I hope that, I don't want to say I don't want to see a lot of characters introduced, but I think having Sabine is something we need to have happen, but we don't need a ton of new characters introduced other than support casts, Yeah. We don't need another Ahsoka. We don't need another Boba. So. Yeah.
Yep. We'll have to see. And it's very possible that season 3 might be held off until 2022. There's a little bit of contradictory stuff going on there. And I know like Star Wars Theory is like doing their thing. Well, yeah, it's totally 2022 now because of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the thought is, December 2021 shifting into 2022, but who knows? It might be held over, to 2022, let Boba run December, and then, then throw Din Djarin and, the Mandalorian in the next year. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll definitely have content to talk about no matter what. If it's this or if it's that, it doesn't really matter. I'm just happy to see more shows and, so forth come out for Disney Plus. Give it some value for me.
Yep.
So yeah. Oh, and I gotta say, none of us touched on it, but like, are we gonna see more of Moff Gideon? I think we will. I don't think he's done yet.
I'm anticipating a prison break near the middle of the season. I would say that's how we're going to see him again.
I
The
think
question
we'll see him
is,
escape at the beginning of the season.
really?
Yeah.
No, it's possible. Certainly is. He's a smart dude, and he's the only reason he would stay in confinement is because he chooses it. So
Mm-hmm.
the real question is, are we going to see Ranger Cara Dune?
Well, and yeah, no, that's good. That's a good call. Cause like the thing is we have what is that series called? The Rangers of the Republic, or what was that one called?
I can't remember.
Ranger Rick and his Republican friends. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds right.
Let me just look it up real quick. Yeah, Rangers of the Republic. So I think some of the thought is that will maybe be a little bit Cara Dune centric. I'm not so sure about that, but I mean it could be. Will we see her? Yeah, I mean I don't see why not. But there again, I'm
Yeah.
also of the opinion that I like the crew. I like the crew being
Yeah.
together. You know what I mean? That feels
Yeah.
pretty good to me.
I hope we finally get a good, you know, at least a trilogy of episodes with the whole crew together dealing with something big. And I'll tell you what, I was just rewatching The Believer, and yeah, they weren't really friends at the end, but man, how awesome would it have been to see Mayfeld just follow him and take on Gideon's crew? Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he is a great character. I mean, he's a sharpshooter. He's got a lot of wit. It'd be really cool to see him introduced into the crew.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. I kind of get the feeling from like, because I periodically listen to Bill Burr's podcast he does with Burt Kreischer. And I kind of get the feeling that I don't think he'd be into that. Like, I kind of have a feeling like he just wouldn't be into, like, I could be wrong, but I think he played a great character. I think it's somebody that you can remember and do callbacks to, at the very least, do a callback to him. But yeah, I'm with you. I think some crew type missions would be sort of fun. Not necessarily bounty hunting as much, but just just having those things to do. So
Yeah, I think we're kind of past Mando being the bounty hunter at this point. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot more of that now with everything going on with Mandalore.
yeah, I mean, I really legitimately think that like the opening is with him and Bo and saying we have to go to Mandalore. We have to do something, and this causes this dissension. But it's a long season, so that's why again I feel like we get Gideon's escape and sort of a rebuild for him, and then at the end when it seems the darkest, here comes old Jedi apprentice Grogu or something, doing flippy McTwists and backpack rides and so forth.
Yes, with his 3/4 size lightsaber.
I don't know, man. I'll just be interested.
Do you think we'll have a fight with the armorer? Because that is something I'm kind of hoping for.
Yeah, so that's an interest. Yeah, that is an interesting thought. Sure, but with who? I think is the question. Is it with Bo-Katan or is it with Mando? You know what I mean?
I'm saying Mando.
See, I don't necessarily. I think it would, at least in my mind, it feels more logical for her to have a confrontation with Bo-Katan. Kind of like one of those things, like, you bleeping cultists. We don't need your cult kind here with all your cult stuff and your stupid cultiness. And, I don't know. I feel like, Oh, okay. So let me also bring this to bear here. Her hammer. Do you think it's Beskar? It's Beskar though, right? I mean, like,
Well, it kind of has to be Beskar.
I mean, it's got to be.
She forges Beskar with it.
I am just saying, like, but then at that point, so she had, give old Bo a weapon, and they have a little Beskar off. It'll be great.
Yeah.
As Din Djarin just sort of sits on the throne, it's like, yeah, fight.
Holding the spear up, doing old Tusken Raider. Fight.
I don't know, man. I think we're gonna get more Mandalore. That's kind of, I don't know if it's my hope, but I think that would be a good thing to get into.
Yeah, I totally agree. And of course, I think the most important thing we need to see is knee guns. We need to see Din Djarin with knee guns.
Jeez. Oh, no knee guns.
Just like when he sees the jetpacks, man, I really need to get one of those.
It would be kind of interesting. I mean, like, his blasters become pretty iconic to this point, but it would be kind of fun to see him pick up a couple of the Mandalorian, like, blocky blasters and then pew, 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 pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew. That'd be fun.
Well, I'm just saying he helped steal an entire ship with a lot of really nice rifles on it. I really don't get why he didn't keep one.
Hey, you know what? I just actually thought about this. When was the last time we saw his rifle?
Season 1.
No, I mean, we've seen it in this season.
We did see it, but it was super early.
I mean, did it get blown up in his ship? Or did he have it with him?
Yeah, probably would have. No, he didn't have it with him. During the tragedy. You're right.
I didn't think about that as I was doing a rewatch.
Yeah, no, he did not have that with him. You're right.
Wow. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch again and specifically look for that. Because I
wonder if he still had anyone frozen in carbonite on the ship.
I hope not. Well, but in the Believer, he's in different armor, so he didn't use it throughout that episode. The tragedy, I don't remember him taking it with him as he put him on the stone. I think he just had his normal blaster in his pack. So, God, it probably was destroyed. Oh no,
that sucks. That was a cool rifle. I'm sure he can find another. Not the biggest deal.
I'm just thinking about it because really the only real time he gets to use it was in the first episode, the Marshal, when he was facing the Crate Dragon.
Yeah.
Dang. Dude, did they destroy his rifle? Like, seriously, did they destroy his rifle? Gosh, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back, take some time, and actually look through that again.
Yeah. Third rewatch just to confirm that.
Yeah, confirm. Was rifle destroyed? Fascinating.
Maybe he left it with Frog Lady for some reason,
Oh, who knows? Yeah, who knows? Well,
are we gonna get? I think we need to get the children of Frog Lady just coming to confront Grogu at some point.
Like, now listen, man, you killed our brothers and sisters.
Half of my brothers and sisters. Grogu's like, actually, it's about 3/4. I ate a lot of you.
Yeah. Well, one last thing I do want to make mention here, although it wasn't a huge part of my experience, but I do want to give credit where credit's due, is the music. So let me see if I can wrangle this name here, the composer. Ludwig Gor, I don't know, it's got a couple of dots above the O, so Göransson. I'm just going to say that, and hopefully that doesn't come back on me. But really continued good music, because we'd remarked on that quite a bit in season 1. Obviously the themes there, which coincidentally, I'm going to send it to you later. I found, I saw some like a heavy metal remake of the Mando theme, which was pretty cool.
I did too.
Did you see? Okay. I
saw that too.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a little video. It had like 500,000 views on it too. So it was there. But obviously, like, John Williams has been the face and the driving force behind music of Star Wars. But I do think that this guy has done a good job. He's done a really
Yes.
good job of providing the tone for the show, and music has always been such a huge part of Star Wars.
Yeah, it really has. It instantly brings you back to your childhood, hearing all those songs. And we actually got, the Marshall, the Jedi, the Tragedy, a lot of really good, unique music. The Tragedy, especially,
Yeah.
he kind of harkened back to Tamara Morrison's culture, I feel like, with that music. So really appreciated that.
Yes. So very, very good job there. I will actually do a brief shout out here if I can find it first, because I want to be able to reference the YouTube page correctly. Oh my gosh, I've been looking up way too many things on YouTube, so that's not so great. I'm sorry. Stall them for me, buddy. I gotta find this. Dude, you're killing it. You're killing it. Absolutely killing it. Love it.
Let's play that song again.
This is so stupid. I know I subscribe to it too, and it's really irritating me that I can't. Okay. Oh, well, that was easy enough. Okay, so I have a friend here who, I had known from another podcast, and she is a violinist and teacher of said musical instruments as well. So a lot of respect for that, because I briefly scraped aboard a violin for some time. But Rebecca Rovny, it's Rovny, and Rebecca, you guys can figure that out. But anyway, go give her a follow, because she has done a couple of Mandalorian themed covers here, along with a ton of other covers. She's shot her own little music videos and everything here, but this week she actually dropped I believe this was just the Mandalorian theme song on violin, little arrangement there. So check her out, and give her a follow, give her a like. Very, very talented, much more talented on that instrument than I ever was. So she does a really good job there. So check that out. Anything else we want to chat about here before we wrap her up?
No, I think we've pretty much hit on all the important notes.
Sick. Well, really cool season. Again, looking forward to season 3 whenever that comes to pass. We might have some time to reflect before that happens, but obviously looking forward to it. So all of you listening, because we don't have video, hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Unless you are a patron. Then you have video.
Yeah, I've got some business to talk with you about after this. Not you, the audience, but co-host. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed. And make sure to follow us on all the social media at I was about to spell out a completely different thing that made, never mind. I recorded another podcast this morning with a friend. I'm thinking of theirs.
Starting to get them all mixed up.
At TC Plan Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook. Just look us up. Our name, it's out there. Or if you'd like to just send us an email with some of your thoughts or theories, just tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Love to feature you in the show if you have an opinion worth talking about. But if you're just giving us hate mail, go comment on YouTube.
Send it to YouTube.
Yeah, send it on YouTube. So anyway, folks, thank you very much for listening again. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force